Guys, something weird just happened. Suddenly, almost all the lights went off, and it's like all of my appliances and all the technology started trying to kill me. I've been hiding out ever since, and there's one now. Look. Oh my god.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today our movie in the middle is Y2K. Y2K is the newest slasher detailing what would have happened if the machines did actually come to life and start killing people at the turn of the century. It stars Jaeden Martell, Julian Dennison, Rachel Zegler, Kyle Mooney, and of course, somehow, Fred fucking Durst. So this is one I've actually been excited about for a bit since I saw the trailer, and there actually is a Y2K that came out in 1999 when it was actually happening. It's sort of the same, it's more about like nuclear stuff, so it's not really the actually like machines coming to life as far as I know. I haven't seen it, but this one definitely has a more obviously modern take and feel to it while also being very nostalgic. Starting off with the highs, just the premise itself. Obviously, this didn't actually ever happen, but it was a great fear that a lot of people had that it would. I don't know necessarily that people were thinking it was going to kill everybody, but things were going to be wiped. Stuff was going to happen like terribly because technology was going to screw with like really important stuff. And so taking that and making it a slasher movie was actually pretty cool. And of course, the really, really big thing about this whole premise that is very fun is the fact that it is nostalgic for the 90s. A lot of people are saying it's nostalgic for the 2000s, and that's just like it's just not true because it's the first like 10 hours of the 2000s. So it's the 90s. You know, it's got the 90s aesthetic. It's got 90s like music videos and slang and animation and computer graphics, all of that, and I very much appreciate it as a 90s kid. Yes, I was born in 1997. I qualify as a 90s kid, but some people don't think that that's true.
You are on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of master.
Plus, it's always fun to have like high school parties in these kind of movies because, I don't know, whether or not you liked high school, there's got to be something about it that you're like, oh, that was fun, that was good times. Maybe not. I don't know, it's kind of, it's fun to me from all the parties that I went to in high school. All of them. The robots and the machines and how they came to life, all of that itself were actually really, really cool. I kind of wish we had more of it, but I'll get to that in a second. What we did get was very cool. A lot of really inventive kills and ways that machines could somehow kill you. Obviously, a lot of them have blades, they have things that they can throw, but there were some that I was like, I was never expecting this thing to be able to kill me if it were to come to life. And we get some where it's just the one individual machine, and then they start to kind of pile up. So then we get some that are like, I guess, Power Rangers of machines, like Megazords? Is that what it is? I don't know. They kind of pile up together and become a gigantic, machine. So that was pretty cool. And I have to say, I'm very impressed with the practical effects that they used for it. And the fact that they even went with practical effects because they, could have used CGI. Obviously, we don't want that, but that's what everybody's doing nowadays. But the fact that they used practical effects not only made it look cool and look a lot more realistic, obviously, it also just goes with the 90s aesthetic. Because obviously we had CGI by that point, but it just feels much more hands-on and grounded. And I really, really liked the chemistry between a lot of these actors, specifically the main friendship between Julian Dennison and Jaeden Martell. I really love them. You could definitely tell it really felt like they were actual friends who fight, who have really good times, bad times, they know each other, there's all these little details. I really liked them. They just had really good chemistry, and not just that, but also like Jaeden Martell and Rachel Zegler's characters were also really great. It was cool that I didn't know this from the trailer, but like they sort of know each other already, but they're just kind of like, they know each other as like kind of classmates in this one class they help each other with. So that was a cool start to that. And I just really liked a lot of the characters in general. They were very fun. We get to learn more about them, obviously, as the movie goes on. So you get to, kind of peek behind the curtain of some people who are putting on like a facade, which is really most of them, because that's what high school is. And the whole movie's about, like realizing, oh, we're all kind of, we're kind of the same. So it's like, yeah, it's like that kind of regular message you see in a lot of these high school movies, but I just like the way that they did it, specifically for a reason that was really shocking, and this is my middle. There's something that happens maybe about a third of the way through the movie that was very shocking. A couple things, actually. And they definitely subvert your expectations. So it was a really interesting way to go with it. And I respect it on one hand because I'm like, all right, you know what? I just have no idea where they're really going to go with this because they did X. And so it kind of breaks a little bit of the, the story tropes that we have, or not even the story tropes, but just how a general story goes. It broke that. So I was like, okay, cool. This is kind of like a fresh new take. The reason it's a middle is because it does sort of take the wind out of the sails a little bit, and there's just a lot of stupid decisions made by some characters in regards to these things that happen. So it was like, I like the attempt, I like the idea, but some of it just didn't quite work for me, and then, like I said, it just kind of, the rest of the movie from there on definitely feels like kind of a different movie, and it struggles a little bit more, which seemingly enough gets into my lows. The shift in quality from the first half to the second half is very noticeable, and that's what I had heard a lot of people saying, and it's pretty true. The first half feels pretty tight. It feels like they know exactly what they're going for. They're able to build up characters really well. The second half builds up characters very well too, I will say that. They do have a lot of great character moments. It's just the whole thing in the second half doesn't feel like it blends together as well. It's like the story goes, for me, a little bit too fast. It feels like there's this major event going on, and it doesn't really feel like we ever, I don't know, get this sense that it's all over the world. There's one or two, like, airplanes crashing into each other, stuff like that, to show, like, yeah, this is a really big thing. It just never really felt like that for me. And then a lot of characters make some really stupid decisions, or they're just not considering things that they probably would if this was a real-life situation. Like, where's my family? I don't know. They don't seem to give a shit. And with that, while I really appreciated that we had a lot of time with the characters, I actually would have liked more time with the robots too. I would have liked a couple more fights, or not many fights, but just confrontations with the robots. There was a good amount, but I did feel like in the second half, especially once we got that awesome first scene with the robot kills, it lightened up a little. We didn't get to see as many. And maybe I'm being too harsh on it because, like I said, there were a lot of great things about this movie, even in the second half. It just felt a little bit disjointed to me, like they weren't sure how to keep up the tone and the pacing of the movie. They weren't quite sure where they wanted to go with it or what to do with it. And then the ending, it's kind of stupid. And yes, it's because of Fred Durst. I know people love Fred Durst, I think, and I know people love Limp Bizkit, I think. Whereas I'm like, okay, sometimes he comes into a movie or a thing and he makes it funny and he makes it kind of memeable. You can't deny he also kind of makes it worse. Again, I think I'm being a little too harsh on this movie because I did like it, and I'm fine with that being there because the nostalgia factor, because it's not taking itself too seriously. It knows what it is. It knows what its audience is. It just feels to me like the ending itself, things that kind of happen, again, the wind seems to be out of the sails. It's like, what are we kind of doing here? And some stuff just goes on that I'm like, this is just kind of dumb. So overall, I actually really liked this movie a lot. There were just things I definitely wish were better about it. There's a lot of good stuff here, and there's a really good movie hidden in here. I think if they had just restructured some things, added some things, taken away, just like go through it a couple more times, they could have had a really, really good movie on the level of like Bodies that A24 also did. That being said, it was a fun movie to watch, at least once. There was a lot of fun stuff in it. It takes you back to when, the good old days. And it was just cool. They really leaned into the 90s stuff. It was fun. It was definitely good for a watch for sure. And I think down the line, it'll probably gain a little bit more popularity again with some people. I'm going to give Y2K a 2.5 out of 4. Well, guys, let me know what you thought of Y2K. And do you think 97 babies are technically 90s kids? Comment carefully. And as always, keep your hopes high, your stress low, and movies right in the middle. I'll see you guys later.